This is take 4 of this video because I ramble so much and I really need to stop, but it's very hard to. Out of pretty much anyone, I, of all people, should probably keep a script because I am terrible with rambling, and yet I am persistent in saying that I don't like scripts because they feel artificial and fake. So, I'm sorry. But yeah, basically to give you an idea, this is kind of the kind of content that I've been wanting to make since I came back half a year ago, and I actually did make a video like this reacting to old art, not the lazy one that I posted, but like an actual good video. It was like 30 minutes long, and I was going to make a video just reacting to old art and talking about it genuinely, and I mean, it was good, but then I got really tired of editing it, and I was worried that the audio would corrupt and it would be bad, so I just got rid of it, and it's deleted now. So I wanted to make a video sort of like it, just talking about my art and stuff and my journey so far and how I progressed since about 3 years ago when I started this channel, when it was called Animations back in 2017. And I wanted to talk about the OCs and characters that I have today because I want to be known for who I am now instead of who I was back then, because we're very different people. So I'm just gonna dive into it, I guess, and just kind of talk about it. I'm sorry if I ramble. There's so much energy inside of me that just needs to get out in some way, so I can't shit rainbows, so I just blabber instead. I should probably talk about the character that I started this channel with. Her name was Allison, and she was a really ugly and disgusting persona based on my Littlest Pet Shop mascot, who is now no longer my mascot. I then changed her to a less disgusting and ugly version, and I won't lie, she's pretty alright. The art isn't good, but the character itself is okay, and I don't hate it. It's just not the kind of aesthetic I want to go for anymore. It's just not really me anymore, although I kind of like pastel stuff, just not as much as I did back then. She was too cutesy ooh-woo for me, and she just kind of represented a bad part of me. Please, for the love of God's feces, ignore the birdie doll. I'm not going to give context. It's just bad. I basically went with this same character with hardly any changes for all of 2018 and sort of 2019 too, with like minor changes that made her really disgusting and ugly. She had this nasty curly hair, and she had like these gross triangle eyes that didn't fit her at all, and ugh. Around that time, I got rid of her eventually because I just decided I didn't really like her anymore, and I didn't really want like a Sona like that, and I don't know. I just didn't like her anymore. She represented a part of me that wasn't good. But then I brought her back in around November as this disgusting mutant creature, and it's disgusting for so many reasons. This was actually my last drawing of her in her, like, old outfit, so at this point we could say goodbye to the old Allison. It was also my first drawing in 2020, so that's neat. I then changed her to this character, and she's kind of stayed that way all of 2020. Not much has changed, really. She still has the choker, and she has the shirt, although I haven't had the Krusty doll there for a while because, I don't know, I just don't like putting an image on the shirt, and I don't want to draw it, and I'm not as big of a Simpsons fan anymore as I was back then. She still has those shoes and the black skirt, and she actually has these fingerless gloves as well that I forgot to put in the drawing because I'm an idiot. I also drew this soon after making her, all these different outfits, and I guess this is technically the last time I drew her in that pastel original outfit, but it wasn't really canon. I just kind of wanted to draw her in that. The second one is still her main outfit, and there you can see her fingerless gloves, and the third one was just kind of another outfit that I was considering making her main, and I decided maybe it'll kind of be her streaming outfit because it's really chill and laid back like my streams, I guess. The fourth is scene core because at the beginning of this year, I was truly discovering myself in all my aesthetics and interests and getting into more fandoms, which has been really fun. So I realized that I really like scene core, and this was back before I realized I really like kid core too, so the last one would have probably been a kid core version, but I didn't really know about it much back then, so it's honk honk! I also made this, which I thought was worth showing in this video. I'm just going to kind of show it here, and it's basically my progress throughout the years, and you can pause it to read it if you want, because I don't need this to be super long with me blabbering. And here's basically how she is today, except her hair is kind of being difficult right now. I do plan to make talking sprites for this video, so maybe these have the updated version of her hair. I just realized since I'm using talking sprites, you could just see how she looks anyway. You know what, whatever. She has thin, sharp ears. That is a key aspect of her to kind of make her memorable, I think, although I don't think that's interesting or iconic at all. I'm sure there are plenty of characters like that. I stopped doing that thing with like the flipping the ear around, like look at this ear, right? It doesn't make sense. I'm too lazy to explain why. She always has like crumbs and shit around her mouth. I don't know, maybe she eats shit in her free time. I don't know, it was some kind of weird, edgy, gross, nasty, I don't know, thing that I thought would look cool on her. And what would you know, for once, my persona finally has eyelashes. Can we hit 10 children in the chat, guys? Thank you so much. Fortnite giveaway in the description. Okay, moving on. I feel the need to tell you guys where I was in 2019, since that's basically when my channel was dead, besides DeviantArt, which is why the people who have followed me on DeviantArt kind of know where I am and have seen my journey throughout time, which is why I tell people to follow my DeviantArt since my channel isn't alive. Basically, while I still had my persona at the time, the main star was my persona, and she's really gross. She was constantly inconsistent in her weight and her height, mostly her height, and overall, all the time, she was just constantly changing sizes, and it was just really ugly, and I really hate her. Her arms are too short in this ref. It's so bad, dude. I don't really like her, and she's sort of back, but not really. She's just, I don't know. I don't really know if I want her back. I'm not going to bring her back, but, I mean, recently I drew her, and she doesn't look as bad anymore. And that about covers that. So, are we done with the Sonas? You bet your sweet ass we're not. Sunset marks the start of a new era for my art. Basically, I was very inspired by Neon Feathers, who's a very good artist and animator who you should subscribe to because he's criminally underrated. And a while ago when I discovered their content in late 2019, they had this little Sona here who's very updated now, and he looked really cool to me, and I just kind of wanted to make someone like it. So at first, they were a total ripoff, but now she's Sunset, and I really like her, and she represents me, although I've kind of been neglecting to draw her lately since I brought my persona back, but she still holds a big place in my heart. And this drawing right here, which was the first drawing of her, is actually the first drawing I ever made with a mouse, and that's what I used to draw today, and it's actually very easy. She has changed a lot since this drawing, which is why I need to make her a reference sheet, like an official reference sheet, but this was my first drawing of her, and it means a lot to me. She continued to progress and change throughout time with her height and rounder features and her eyes kind of changing, and yeah, this is where she sort of is today, and I really like her still. I need to make a reference sheet soon, so hopefully I'll get around to that. Me just sitting here being insecure that this audio is going to sound significantly different from the last time I recorded because it's been weeks because I got super sick and went to the ER. So let's get back on track. Another Sona I have is my LPS Sona, based on my LPS channel and based on my old Littlest Pet Shop mascot once again. And as you can see here, she's got herself a little friend, and that friend is Sherbert, and he's my new mascot and my favorite LPS of all time, and I love him a lot. He's a mascot of my channel Strawglix, where I moved for LPS content, and I actually really want to upload again soon because randomly a couple days ago I just started feeling really happy and grateful that I was ever introduced to LPS and LPS Tube and all the series. Bro, those were the good times. If you were there, you know, oh my god, that's like the prime place for childhood. It's just good. Anywhoosies, she has this little visor that she actually has in real life. It's this mini visor. It's so cute. You should see it. And it has this little paw print right here that I really want to incorporate into the visor in her anthro form if I can learn how to draw it. I also made this a while ago that is very outdated and really was just a test. And as you can see, there are all kinds of different forms here besides Sherbert at the end. Ew, he looks ugly. This is so ugly, dude. I improved so much in only a couple months. I'm very proud. Okay, we're getting very rambly. We need to get back onto video making mode. The first one represents 2015. The second one represents 2016. The third one represents 2017. The fourth one represents 2019, because we're just skipping 2018. Can we just, like, pretend 2018 never existed? And once this year's over, don't worry, we can totally forget 2020 existed too. Speaking of, that's the year that I decided to move to Strawglix, and that's why Sherbert is there at the end, representing 2020. Don't mind how ugly the art is, of course. I have improved since then, especially because I've been trying to go for a different style lately. I'm actually having quite a crisis. I can't wait to remake all these sprites in the future because I decided to change something about my stuff for the 37th time. Speaking of crisis, my Lps Sona in general is just kind of having a crisis. Her name is just Allison, same as my persona, which can create for some confusion. I just kind of draw her sometimes. She just represents my LPS channel. There's nothing really more to it than that. She's here, she's queer, she's actually straight, which is funny because actually I'm bi. I don't know who she is. I should also really quickly go over how different Alice looks today. I'm so sorry this wasn't in my notes for some godforsaken reason. Alice is my good old persona from 2017, who was, again, based on the Littlest Pet Shop mascot. But now that we have the other Lps Sona actually based on that mascot, now she's turning into some kind of mutant creature. Seriously, she's so ugly right now. I am working on her constantly, and one day, hopefully, I'll be able to get her ref sheet out. She basically just represents 2017 me, so she's kind of annoying. She's kind of like a 14 years old, I'm deep and woke, and yeah, she's kind of like a typical annoying 13, 14-year-old, but we still love her anyways. She doesn't mean any of the absolute bullshit she pulls us through. She's turning into some kind of leopard creature because I'm moving on from the stripes and trying to move on from overall her colors, so she'll probably get a full makeover soon. But as of now, mutant. Believe it or not, we're actually done with the Sonas, I think. So now I'm just going to go over some characters that were relevant in 2019 last year, who are still sort of relevant today. One of the first characters of the year I actually got was Trinity, who is very obviously a ripoff of Lasagna Bird, which is Birdie's old persona, and I have been trying for a year to make her more original. I really tried, I guess, but I was very attached to the design, so I really wanted to just make it work. I do really like the colors. I think they are really nice together, and I still want to make her design work somehow, but she's been a struggle for a year now. I mean, same with Alice. I don't know. Maybe they're both lost causes. I guess we'll see what the future holds for us, but I'm really trying to work on her here. Another character that I invented out of absolute rage and pettiness was Xavier. That's their name. And they are non-binary, and I don't know. I don't know. That's it. They exist. They represented people that I hated, I guess, which is why they were non-binary, just because, I don't know, there are lots of people I hate of all different genders and people and sizes and shapes, and I don't know if they exist anymore. I'm not even fond of their design, but they existed a year ago. They're probably trash now. Rip Xavier. I don't think anybody missed you. I don't think anybody cares about you. And now it's time for the Toontown OCs. Toontown has been a big part of my life ever since, like 4 or 5 years old. And I was playing it because I saw my sister playing it. When it closed in 2012, I literally never found the perfect replacement. I could never find a game that I loved playing as much. I could never find, another perfect online game like Toontown. And while I'll admit it's obviously very boring for a lot of people because lots of people just completed the game. They've done all their purposes and stuff. Let me ramble about my interest. It is a need for me. Rambling is a part of my lifestyle. I need to do this. I know that a lot of people are bored of it, but man, it still holds such a big place in my heart. I still play it sometimes when I find the time, when I'm not drawing, which is never. I still haven't completed the game myself because I'm super slow and incompetent, but I do have a lot of tunes and accounts on there. I have 5 accounts. Most of them are completely untouched, but I have a lot of tunes based on those characters, and by that I mean 3. So here's Poppy Thundermuffin. Wow, she actually has a ref sheet. In the game, you can fish, and it's all these weird fish puns and names. So right here we have Diva, my Devil Ray. He's an ultra rare, as well as my Grand Piano Tuna. But I just call him Piano Tuna because, really, the rarity doesn't matter. Some bullshit. Diva's the Devil Ray because he's such a little brat and a little diva, and he thinks he can do whatever he wants. He's so spoiled, my little prince. And really, he has the exact same energy as Bad Kitty from those Nick Brule books. Seriously, did any of you read those? Does anyone remember Bad Kitty? She was an icon, okay? And our piano tuner is Music Mouth, who I think was a suggestion from someone in a Discord server, as well as Mercules. I don't remember, I'm so sorry. But Mercules is his name because, I don't know, he's big and strong like Hercules, except he's Music Mouth, so it's Mercules. And I imagine him with Rick's voice. Now I have two others who are on my other accounts, and I put them all together to create a little cat cult, and they are the Little Cat Trio. This one right here is Sea Tiger, and I haven't touched her account in a long time, and I haven't actually touched her design in a long time either. I know that I've drawn her like traditionally, like doodled her a bit lately, but otherwise she's kind of been dead to me, but I do plan to bring her back. I love her weird chameleon tail. Not sure if it's here to stay, but I do like her. I do like her design, and I really want to bring her back. Same with Daffodil, who I also haven't drawn since probably last year. I adore her design and what I've done with her, and I really want to bring her back. I still like this drawing, dude. Heck, it's really better than a lot of the things that I drew last year. And I want to go over all these characters who actually represent the mascots of several different channels. We have my Persona, obviously, who is meant to represent my Squidster channel, and I think also sort of represented my Aladison Streams channel. But she doesn't represent it anymore. Wario represents it because honestly, an icon, a true icon. We then have Chloe, which if any of you turkeys remember Chloe Snaz with girlfriend apostrophe at the end, like the apostrophe, okay? Don't forget it's key component. She was some Sans fangirl troll, but to be honest, those were very overused. Even in 2017, just the concept of Sans fangirls was just run into the ground. So she does not exist anymore. I'm not attached to her design, so she's dead. Rip Chloe next to Xavier. We then have Martian, who represents Keemstar Loves Homer. I don't know. I think one day I just created the channel because haha, funny username, random, Keemstar Loves Homer. So I don't know if there's a love story going on there. Not sure why he represents it. I just created him one day in some lazy drawing, and that's how he looks now. He looks creepy. He's some kind of frog human mutant. Not sure. We then have Jade, and if any of you turkeys remember Jade, don't. Okay, just don't. She represents LPS Jade Fields, or now renamed JD with 3 Ys, and that's now her name, JD. It's not just Jade, it's JD, you idiot. And she has no sense of proportion or anatomy whatsoever, and I'm okay with it. She's just kind of a freak, and we love her for that. She's just being herself. And as outdated as this drawing is, she can still turn into a blob of jelly if she wants to. Next up, we have Yandere Alley. No context, nothing. She is dead. Good riddance. She doesn't even get a tombstone next to Chloe and Xavier. She gets to sink to the pits of hell. We then have Icky Bicko. I don't know. Icky Bicko, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it existed. I don't know if one day I just started creating a bunch of channels for no reason, but eventually the premise of Icky Bicko's channel was supposed to be some kind of I don't know, some kind of hater on me, and they were going to try to cancel me and stuff when I really wanted to create drama, and Keemstar Loves Homer was actually supposed to be the opposite, a total white knight. No videos ever got uploaded on Icky Bicko because I matured, and now it's probably just a channel sitting somewhere with absolutely no purpose. The original purpose was actually to use it to plan a raid on my friend's server just because. I don't know if I had a motive. I don't know if I was like really salty because she dared call me 12 years old or something. Remember when I got so offended over that? But yeah, she always has her trusty little 2-dimensional flat, absolutely not real gun with her because it's her prized possession. I don't know, maybe she sleeps with it at night or something, I don't know. And finally, we have Bickelson, who is actually relevant today. Bickelson is part of a channel called Birds Burping Bickelson, and it was basically a channel used to rant on Birdie constantly. And as much as I don't like him today, it was a really dumb channel, and the videos were really dumb, and they were really full of bias because that's who I was in 2019. So Bickelson's still here, and I've actually been working on their backstory. I don't know, I'm not into backstories anymore, but I've sort of been working on some kind of premise for him at least. Today, Bickelson looks like this, and I adore him, honestly. I do kind of need to make his blue darker so that it doesn't blend so much with the clouds. However, I still absolutely love his design. He used to be non-binary, which is why he had the boobies, but now he is a trans male, because we got to get some trans representation up in this piece. Now, Bickelson has a big bite out of his ear and a scar on his arm and a rip on his shirt. And you know where all that came from? Well, basically, I decided to make canon that because he's all biased and he was super obsessed with drama in 2019, representing me, does that make him a Sona? Nah. He basically went into raids and did dumb stuff. I never did that. I don't condone raiding. It's not a good idea no matter what, but that's what he did back in the day, and it ended up getting him some consequences because through the raids, he got injured quite a bit, and that taught him the lesson to maybe not get so involved in drama and not cause it and stop raiding. So now he just chills out and watches drama on his TV, and which you know is pretty chill. He's just a chill dude. Go over to his house. He's like that uncle you go to their house. They always give you all their food and snacks. You get sick the next day. They got like those old 50s really bad houses with the probably broken air conditioning. He probably drinks beer. You know the type. I know exactly the type. He's a chihuahua with a very fluffy tail and some circle hands. He's our boy. We love him. He also eats garbage and throws it up, I guess, because of his mouth. That added another 10 minutes. I'm getting rambly here. But that's not a bad thing because we're just about done with this train ride. The next characters I'm going to go over are characters that basically represent my streaming channel and my streaming passion. And as much as I would love to go on a 50-minute ramble about how much I love these and all the journeys I've been through and how I've learned through streaming despite them still being potato quality, ew, that's not funny anymore. We're just going to show off the characters that represent it. First off, we have Wario, who basically represents a streaming channel, and I guess that should have been canon since 2017 because he was always just an icon for us, right? Swedish twerking Wario. And as much as that and many other inside jokes just originated from dumb, random, funny humor from 2017, my humor was awful back then, I still love them, and they hold a dear place in my heart. Next up is Anus. Yes, I know her udders are bad, and yes, I know her name, okay? That was what I named my cow on my profile on the Barnyard game on the PlayStation 2, and this is how she looks, and that's pretty much how she looks in-game. I really like her eye color for some reason. I really like how I drew her braid back here despite this being about 3 months old. I'm pretty proud of it, honestly. She's got a basic design, but just really nice colors, I think. Also, she has no mouth. No Mouth Squad, rise up! Next up is Jennifer. I actually have 2 characters named Jennifer. We have this one and then an actually developed one with personality. But this one is from Pets Dogs 2, my absolute childhood game. I love it so much. Honestly, I wish it got more attention and at least like a small fandom. That would have been great. I had a Chihuahua named Jennifer, and I think she was not my first ever profile on there, but the first profile I actually completed because I was terrified of the game for so long, and I kept just restarting over and over again until the part that I was afraid of. But she was the first character dog profile thing that I used to actually overcome my fears and get through the game, and I really enjoyed it and was really proud of myself. Then one day I accidentally deleted her whole profile when I was being stupid and not paying attention to what I was doing. I was so sad. So I remade her all over again, and I'm still to this day buying every clothing item because I don't know which ones I had on the old ones. So, rip Jennifer too! But she still looks adorable, and she's rocking that scarf and that hat. We all love her. You know you do. Give her a big fat hug because she deserves it. Next up is Poppy with her pets, and I already went over her, so go die, Poppy. And then we have Hat Kid. Oh boy, I drew this before I actually played the game, and whoo! It is very good, very worth the wait of a couple months because I randomly discovered it through a meme video, and I love it so much. So I decided to just add Hat Kid there because I really wanted the game. Up in the air is Whirl and Shake It Enemy because he's adorable. You should adore him. Everyone should adore him if they know what's good for them. And then a Wasp from Simpsons Hit and Run. They're pretty terrifying. There was this one in particular that basically jump scared me on stream, so I named him Pedro. He was a huge struggle for many reasons I'm not going to get into because rambling. Oh boy, something I cannot control. And finally, it's time to go over basically just some useless little characters that I have that I made just for the sake of their design, because I got more into that. I like to give myself some freedom, just give myself some leeway to make some characters and just be okay with not really giving them a purpose, but just to look cool. We have Rexy, her name's spelled really weird, and she's a scene core character if you couldn't tell. I really adore her. We have another scene core character who I like even more, and they're more recent, and their name is Yikes. I love them a lot. I love like their makeup and their little details, and I like the art in this a lot better too. They're an opossum, and I named them Yikes because throughout drawing it at first, I didn't really like it, and I just thought, yikes, but I like it now. I don't know what I was thinking. I was high. And finally, we have this older drawing when I was really having a crisis with my style, and the shading's really whack because of that. However, I still sort of like this drawing, and it was basically a big drawing of a bunch of my characters' heads. We have Rexy, my main persona Allison, we have LPS Allison, we have Jennifer, we have Alice, we have Sunset, and we have Bickelson. So they've all progressed a lot throughout time. Yeah, he has a gold tooth because honestly, it looks pretty sick with a gold tooth. I'm really proud of how far I've come on my art journey, even though this channel died for about 2 years or so. I still progressed with my art and it got better throughout time, and I'm trying to start animating. This is the kind of content that I'm trying to make, so let me know what you think. I think it's pretty epic and cool. Lately, I've kind of considered making rants about drama in the community again, but I mostly just want to make rants about dumb stuff like bugs. And as I say that, there's one on my bed. Get off my bed. You're not welcome here. No one wants you, stupid freaking beetle. They're everywhere. Video's ending here. Thank you for being queer. Go ahead and celebrate yourself with your buddies. But Allison, Pride Month's over. Gays don't exist anymore.